This week. All right, well, last night, the big White House Correspondents' Dinner, when our Commander-in-Chief turns Comedian-in-Chief. Mainly, it's the journalists across the country that were there. Donald Trump happened to be there, and he happened to be the butt of many jokes by the president. Listen.
I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
Well, the crowd was certainly laughing. It was maybe an uncomfortable laugh at points, and some people were saying that Donald Trump looked like the only person in the room who wasn't having a fun time. He joins us right now on the phone to respond to that. Good morning, Donald.
Good morning.
So were you upset about those remarks, or were you having a good time? It was hard to tell.
Well, I really understood what I was getting into. I didn't know that I'd be virtually the sole focus, and I guess when you're leading in most of the polls, that tends to happen. But I was certainly, in a certain way, having a good time listening. You know, I don't think the American people are having a good time paying $5 gasoline and their clothing prices doubling and all of the other problems that they've got. You look at what's happening with food. So, you know, I was thinking to myself as they were doing this that, you know, the American people are really suffering and we're all having a good time. I think it's inappropriate in certain respects. But I thought the delivery was good. I thought Seth Meyers, frankly, his delivery was not good. He's a stutterer, and he really was having a hard time.
You know, you've been spending more time around these politicians and in sort of Washington circles. What do you take away from it all?
Well, it's interesting. You go to a certain level and you raise to a certain level, let's say in this case in the polls, and boy, does the world come after you, especially if you happen to be conservative. And that was a largely liberal room, not entirely, but it's a press room. And, you know, I'm a little bit surprised to see it. You have to understand what I do and what I will do best is the economy. I mean, I'll get China to change its ways, and we have all the cards, and people don't understand it. Our politicians don't understand it, but we have all the cards. I mean, they're making our products. They're making a fortune. They're rebuilding China on our backs. I will get OPEC to reduce prices. I will guarantee that they will seriously reduce prices. We have nobody that even talks to them. So I really knew what I was getting into last night. I had no idea it would be to that extent where, you know, just joke after joke after joke. It was almost like, is there anyone else they could talk about? So in a certain way, I was honored. But, you know, again, the economy is having it's going through such a traumatic period. I was thinking to myself, it just seems inappropriate.
Yeah, it did seem like an awful lot of jokes. Chris Wallace, the host of Fox News Sunday, said he thought it was a few too many and perhaps a little mean. But interesting reports coming out this morning that Republicans want a wider field for the 2012 race. We know you won't announce until the Apprentice show has come to an end, and then you'll make an official announcement. Do you feel that there is a lack of excitement by the current field, those who have officially declared that they will run for president? Do they need Republicans a wider field?
Well, there certainly isn't a lot of lack of excitement, as you call it, with respect to my candidacy. I mean, every time I go out, there's hundreds of press, and there's people by the hundreds and thousands. I make speeches, and tremendous crowds show up. I can't speak for the other candidates because I don't know what's happening, but I will tell you, I landed in New Hampshire last week, and it was unbelievable, the response. So, you know, but of course I'm not a traditional candidate. I'm a businessman, and, you know, a lot of politicians really don't want to see an outsider come in. But it's time maybe for an outsider to come in to stop the onslaught of this country. People are destroying this country.
Well, you threw this out there on Twitter a little bit ago, Donald, to ask some questions for you, and the criticism, of course, about the birth certificate thing, and you were saying that you were concerned about gas prices and the economy. Obviously, you made the birth certificate thing one of your, you brought quite a bit of light to that over the past. So some are saying, well, isn't it hypocritical of you then to be talking about the plight of gas prices when you were the one rallying around the birth certificate thing? Weren't you expecting those jokes to be flying?
Well, I did expect jokes, actually. I mean, when I went there, I expected that it wouldn't be just a free evening. It wouldn't be an evening of a nice meal. But the fact is that I'm very proud of what I did with respect to the birth certificate, because I got Obama to give his birth certificate, something which the Clintons couldn't do, something which the Republicans in the last campaign couldn't do. Nobody could do it. And I only ask, why did it take so long? I mean, why did he wait years? I mean, 3 years. But I was the only one able to get him to produce it, and I'm very happy. And the fact is, that is not at all and has not been my main subject. My main subject is jobs and the economy and stopping all of these countries that we deal with from just absolutely ripping us to shreds.
Donald, before we let you go, I want to ask you about this. You were recently in Las Vegas. You gave a speech there. You used the F word numerous times, 3, possibly more. Could be a real turnoff to folks out there. Why do you have to use that kind of language?
Well, it was a speech in Las Vegas in front of a rough group of folks and great group of folks, and I got standing ovations probably every 3 or 4 minutes. It was really well received. Some people don't like it. You know, the fact is, it's a word of emphasis with that group. Probably I won't do it anymore, to be honest with you. But
so you learned your lesson there.
I will say this. When people see the real negotiation that will go on with China and that will go on with OPEC and others, that is very mild compared to what happens in a real room. The problem is we don't have a real room because we have nobody that knows how to negotiate.
Oh, Donald Trump, well, thanks so much for joining us. What happens in Vegas certainly does not stay there. We appreciate you being on the program.
Have a good time. Thank you very much.
Coming up.